Hi, what's going on, guys? My name is Hunter McQuaid, and this is my American culture reaction video for intercultural communication. So let's get into it. So to start off by saying, I was very kind of confused and a little bit frustrated when we were reading the kind of video because I didn't know what was going on, and I was like reading it, like trying to figure out what are we talking about really, and the it made the sound a very weird and kind of like out of this world type stuff that I can't really like relate to in any sense or like kind of compare to anything we do, which is what I do when I'm reading something to help me understand it better. But like when they were talking about men lacerating their face with sharp tools, it made it sound like worst case scenario, this is like a crazy cult, but then it was just American men shaving their face to make our faces look clean so we look more presentable in our office meetings or etc. And then when women putting their hair into small ovens, that I wasn't understanding what that could have meant or what that was about, and then it just turns out it was about women doing their hair, and both those things no one thinks about. Everyone thinks, okay, clean shave, yeah, he wanted to look presentable for his peers, or she wanted to look very nice, she wanted her hair done so she looked her best at school, or she wanted to impress her friends, or etc. So this entire video I was trying to engage myself and understand it, and the everyday activities that we don't think anything about, other cultures view it as like the weirdest thing ever, or just, and that's what I kind of really got confused and kind of frustrated about the most was that. Another thing I'd like to point out, sorry for the pause, was hearing about the magic ridden people who sounds like these wizards, but it turns out it's just wealthier people that have more opportunities than the people with less magic, which are just the people that do not have as much currency as our rich people in our country. And that just really confused me a little bit more for a while until we talked about it after reading it, and we're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay, I get what they were saying. That I don't know if I was ever going to pick up on that if no one told me that's what they were talking about. For this next part, I want to talk about rituals or events in our culture as it might be seen from an outside observer. And I think sport is a great lesson that these athletes will take into their adult lives, because in sports like baseball is a game of failure. You will fail 30% of the time and you will end up in the Hall of Fame. That you need to be mentally tough to be able to compete in this game. So it's not just a game, even though we call it one because we're supposed to think that. Another culture might look at baseball and see, oh, these kids are just having fun, they're just trying to enjoy their time as a kid, they just want to do this and that. The way that I want to connect this to a US cultural worldview is, in 1947, Jackie Robinson made his debut in the MLB. Before then, it was a predominantly 100% a white sport. It was a white man's game. And once he got into the game and he succeeded, our eyes as a culture opened and went, okay, what else are we possibly missing out on? Obviously, there were other key points in African American history that led to no longer there being slaves, and then there being having rights to vote, etc. Baseball was one of those movements, and it was a simple game. So that's why when people say that baseball is a simple game, I think that they overlook all the great things that happened in baseball that turned out to be a part of American history, not sports history. So now we have to look at the fact that if we look in today's game, baseball has been taken over by predominantly Dominican Republic. These 20-year-olds are hitting the ball 400 feet and showing that this country is producing a lot of athletes, and these athletes are getting futures that they never thought were possible as kids because of this game. This game, right? That's what it is to some cultures, but that's just not the case if you look at how other people's lives have changed from a game. And then so on and so forth. This started our inclusion in our culture, and it started with a sport, and now everybody is getting a voice. Everyone is we're starting to listen more as a culture, and we're hearing people out, and we're like, okay, this does need to change. And now kids are going to school and they feel more safe. They're asking questions because we've set in place rules to keep them from feeling insecure or unsafe. And that's like the best thing for our country, is our young ones to feel safe when they're going to school, and they're feeling like themselves, and they're feeling like they can become more educated and be productive members of society. We just needed to open our eyes, listen, and say, okay, I hear you. We can't ignore this problem anymore. Let's fix it. The last thing I want to touch on is this. As America, especially right now, we are looking at a lot of the bad things that have happened. And yes, I do agree, we should totally be looking at these problems and facing them head on. But we just need to remember how far we've come. And yes, we have a long ways to go. But if we don't stop every once in a while and look at the good things that are happening in the world, we're all going to see bad. And then the entire world is only going to see American culture as bad. So we need to remember to look at the good, because at the end of the day, there are more good things than bad. Thank you guys for listening to my American cultural video.